because as a poet laureate, I have to talk about the diversity and the uniqueness of Laredo. And of course, the uniqueness of Laredo is that we're bilingual, bicultural, and we are so happy that we are bilingual and bicultural. And first of all, like I was telling my friend Patricia Gonzalez, thank you very much to the city of Laredo, to the Commission of Fine Arts and Culture, and to the for naming me Poet Laureate. As I was saying, there's a lot of good poets in Laredo, and I'm friends with lots of them. And I feel very humbled that I was chosen. And I think one of the reasons I was chosen is I'm a teacher, and I've been promoting poetry since 1968. And actually, since I was a child in elementary, I've always been fascinated by poetry. And I have some books to prove it, right, Roxanne? And Roxanne is in charge of my PowerPoint, and I send her my books from, gosh, more than 60 years ago. It's like 65 years ago. And I keep my books. If you come to my house, su casa, mi casa es su casa, you will see the big collection. And that's like when I was in elementary, you can see my name. And then in the third, from Papelería Calderón. And if you look Guerrero y Canales, and the telephone number is 37. That's all the number. And then my brother Joaquin scratched my name and put his. When I went to college, he took it upon himself to get my book. But anyway, I've been that into poetry since then. Okay, and then the following, I was telling you, I'm more a teacher. Back in 1968, when I started teaching, I saw that there was nothing for Spanish students to shine. So I started an oral poetry contest, and at the same time, original poetry contest. And back in 1980, I published a little booklet with lots of poems from my kids, and I took them to Puerto Rico to a convention. And lo and behold, some authors heard me, and they published these five original poems by my students from Martin High School were published by Macmillan and Company. I am very honored to have 1980. Also, I wrote also for them what is it in the poets, not the poets, in the teacher's addendum. But I would like the next slide, please, because the next slide talks about my year. Well, I've been named for 2 years, and I was asked to do 4 activities. But if you know me, you know I'm a little bit. I'm doing 8 activities instead of 4. I'm an overachiever, I think. Plus, I've always been a nerd, and my purpose again is to promote literature. And this month's theme is love and its different manifestations. In March, I will have International Women's Day, and we'll listen to poets both in English and Spanish, and empowering women, that we need that, especially in Laredo with the very machista culture that we have. Then in April, celebrating Shakespeare, but hey, why not Cervantes? Cervantes is also from April. So we're going to celebrate Shakespeare and Cervantes. Plus, that month, we'll also have a contest. So the poems you write, you can put them in the contest, send them to the contest. And then, of course, May is always Mother's Day, June, Father's Day. I remember my principal, Mr. Lara, back in Cigarroa, we would always have Mother's Day programs. And he would say, and why don't you honor fathers? You know, why do you, ¿por qué nos haces menos? I said, no, it's because in June, we don't have school anymore. And so, it was summer, so we didn't have, but hey, we have beautiful poems for Father's Day or for honoring fathers or honoring men, you know. So, and then we rest July and August, and then we go back September for lyrical poetry, and then October we're going to do calaveras. So I'm very excited to promote literature, to promote poetry in the city of Laredo. And I thank you very much, and I hope you can come to all my programs and then invite some friends and tell them that it's a good thing for Laredo. Okay, and now we go to the other slide, and then in the other slide, they always ask me, what is poetry? ¿Qué es poesía? See, can you show the other slide, Roxanne, please? And as you know, poetry is one of the oldest forms of literary arts. Of course, the Greeks had drama. They had drama even before Christ, before the Christian era. The Greeks were great on drama and poetry too. But in the Spanish language and in the English language, El Cantar del Mío Cid is an epic poem based on the true story of Rodrigo Díaz de Vivar during the Reconquista, the conquest of Spain from the Moors. And this one, notice how it's called cantar. They would sing it. The juglares, I would tell my students, we didn't have, of course, newspapers or radio or TV. So they wanted to know how El Cid, how Rodrigo was doing in the rest of Spain. So the juglares, the minstrels, would come and tell the deeds of Rodrigo, las hazañas del Cid, the deeds, all that he was doing. He was conquering the Moors. And how else but in poetry? Imagine you in poetry, and many times singing accompanied by a guitar. Okay, and in Spain, this was in 12th and 13th century. In 13th and 14th century England, we have the Canterbury Tales, and I'm sure you read those in English class, and most people say, oh, it's so boring. It is not boring. It's I see some smiling faces saying, oh, it's so boring. Well, the Canterbury Tales are very important. First, because it was one of the Chaucer, Geoffrey Chaucer is one of the great poets of England. And of course, it's depicting the English society. It's giving you everything. How did the English behave through the stories? And of course, these were sung by minstrels also. So poetry is one of the oldest forms of literary arts. It is a song. Poetry is the lyrics of songs. First are poems, and then they're put to music. May we have the next? And then we're going to go, 400 more centuries. And of course, and I'm sorry, we don't have in the library, we don't have the accents or so, ¿qué es poesía? No me regañes, Patricia, que no hay, but in the, ¿qué es poesía? Of course, this is Becker. This is Becker from 19th century Spain, Spain's most romantic of the romantic poets. And when we think of poetry, many times we think it's only Valentine's poems. One of my grandchildren said, no, I'm not into Valentine. Probably he has had his heart broken, but I said, well, it's not only Valentine's. But of course, Becker, ¿qué es poesía? Dices mientras clavas en mi pupila, tu pupila azul. ¿Qué es poesía? Y tú me lo preguntas. Poesía, eres tú. And of course, if you've had, if you've been lucky enough to be in love, then we know what that is, that sentiment. And Becker also gave us a whole poem about this is only a small verse, a stanza. And it starts like this. No digáis que agotado su tesoro, de asuntos falta, enmudeció la lira. Podrá no haber poetas, pero siempre habrá poesía. And I have a few more stanzas. Dice, mientras el aire en su regazo lleve perfumes y armonías, mientras haya en el mundo primavera, habrá poesía. So poetry is everywhere. It's not only in our loved ones, but it's in la primavera and nature, and everywhere we turn around, there's poetry. May I have the next slide? And of course, here we pause a little bit. There's different types of love, and that's why today's conference is love and its different manifestations. The Greeks gave us this, and I just put 3 of them, but the Greeks have like 8 different kinds of love. I just put 3, the 3 most common: eros, or eros, the romantic, the passionate, the physical attraction that you feel with your significant other. And that's the one we have for Valentine's, the be my Valentine, be my sweetheart. But there's also agape, or agape, the highest level, the selfless, unconditional love that is God's love. And the Phila, or como Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, that's about family, friends, those of us that share the same values and respect, and we respect, then we love them as brothers, as sisters, as, that's another kind of love. So, and now I have an example of a father's love in Soneto a Cristo Crucificado. A father's love I wrote for a Father's Day piece, and it came out in the newspaper. My friend Malena Charur is kind enough to publish my poems, and you cannot tell all the lines there, but I'm going to read it to you. This so many times, we don't recognize how the Father's love, because well, let me read it to you, and it's better like when I say it in poetry. He tiptoed around the house in the wee hours of morning when it was freezing cold, lighted fireplace and heaters so his children would not be cold. I'd hear him in my slumber as I tossed without cares under a thick woolen blanket, waiting for daybreak. House was always warm, breakfast served. The smell of flour tortillas permeated the air. Butter dripping on refried beans, soft scrambled eggs, a steamy cup of chocolate. What delicious fare! We all thanked Mama for such a delightful meal, showered her with kisses, delightful and ahs. Papa just smiled to see his happy brood. We'd hurriedly get up to get ready for school. And it was not until years later I realized that it was thanks to Papa we had such a cozy house where we could enjoy our food. Okay, and that's a tribute of many that I write for my father, because yes, he was, like I said, in tiptoeing in morning, in the wee hours of morning, so our house would be warm. And of course, before there was no central heating or central air. Remember, those of us that are old enough to remember, very few in here, but I do. Patricia and Luis will remember that. If we have the following is Soneto a Cristo Crucificado. And for my humble poem to this, esta es la joya. This is de la poesía mística. This is from Spain. Well, it's anónimo. No saben quién en realidad es atribuido a Juan de Ávila o o al mexicano Miguel de Guevara. No se sabe. But this is the most beautiful poem about love for Cristo. And listen to the words, much better than what I can explain to you. And it says like this. Dice, no me mueve mi Dios para quererte el cielo que me tienes prometido, ni me mueve el infierno tan temido para dejar por eso de ofenderte. Tú me mueves, Señor, muéveme el verte clavado en una cruz y escarnecido. Muéveme el ver tu cuerpo tan herido. Muéveme tus afrentas y tu muerte. Muéveme en fin tu amor y en tal manera que aunque no hubiera cielo, yo te amara, y aunque no hubiera infierno, te temiera. No me tienes que dar porque te quiera, pues aunque lo que espero no esperara, lo mismo que te quiero, te quisiera. Talk about a love poem. And this, it's not, I don't love you because I fear hell or because I want heaven. I just love you for everything you've done for me. And this is, like I said, a gem from Spanish poetry, a soneto. We're not here to study yet about poetry, but later I will tell you what soneto and everything else that's coming. Okay, may we have the next, please? Oh, yes, yes, yes. This is my advice as poet laureate. If you love poetry, like I love poetry, and I showed you my book, and I've done some other books of poetry, you know, we have to be, this is what teachers, and I have several teachers here that will agree with me. If you want to be a good writer, you have to be a good reader, because writers, you know, we copy from each other, and you know, that's okay. I mean, we don't copy word by word, but what is language? But association. But you know, we speak like our parents spoke. We speak what we heard as children. So we are imitating other people. You know, we imitate. So language is imitation. So the Laredo Public Library has a vast collection of poetry books. Look, it has 1,690 books between Main Library and McKendrick Ochoa. No? We have 7 libraries in Laredo. Right now, unfortunately, only 2 are open, but it's the one by Hillside, the Joe Guerra Library, and the other one is in South McKendrick Ochoa, Salinas. But we also have Cloud Library. We had audiobooks. We have MP3s. So I would advise you, if you love poetry like I do, to check out books. And I think these are just the ones in English. I don't know if you included the ones in Spanish, but they also have Spanish. The English one are in the 800s and the Spanish in the 860s, right? Yes,
Yes,
I don't
correct.
remember my Dewey.
And
So
all you need is a card to have access to all these
right,
digital. So
that's right. So
if you
let's
don't
promote.
have one, just call us and we can set you up. And so with whatever you need. So just call us and we can help you out.
Okay, so that's a big plug for your library. Use your library. It's there. It's beautiful. And of course, right now for during COVID, it's not open to the public, but you can call them and they have curbside like HEB. You go and pick up your groceries in HEB. You go pick up your books that you want, right, Roxanne? So let's read.
Yes.
Okay, so we can write better, and you can start reading the classics if you like. I'm showing you most classics or modern. There's a lot of modern poets too. We have a lot of published of Laredo poets or Mexican American poets that you can select from. Okay, so go check the library and check out your books. Okay, may I have the next? So, oh, now I have to read this to you. I have my book here, Amado Nervo, because Llenalo de Amor. We will be talking about love in all its forms. Llenalo de Amor is one that talks about different kinds of love, and Amado Nervo is one of my favorites. Or like my students used to say, well, Ms. Llano, you always say that about any poet that we're reading at the same time. At the time, you always say, that's my favorite author. I'm sorry, kids, but I love poetry. Okay, este se llama Llénalo de Amor y ahí les puse un poster, pero se los voy a leer de Amado Nervo, poeta mexicano de mis favoritos. Dice, siempre que haya un hueco en tu vida, llénalo de amor. adolescente, joven, viejo, siempre que haya un hueco en tu vida, llénalo de amor. En cuanto sepas que tienes delante de ti un tiempo baldío, ve a buscar el amor. No pienses sufriré, no pienses me engañarán, no pienses dudaré. Ve simplemente, diáfanamente, regocijadamente en busca del amor. ¿Qué índole de amor? No importa. Todo amor está lleno de excelencia y de nobleza. Ama como puedas. Ama a quien puedas. Ama todo lo que puedas, pero ama siempre. No te preocupes de la finalidad de tu amor. Él lleva en sí mismo su finalidad. No te juzgues incompleto porque no responden a tus ternuras. El amor lleva en sí su propia plenitud. Siempre que haya un hueco en tu vida, llénalo de amor. Y viene del libro Plenitud de Amado Nervo. Precioso, se lo recomiendo, Amado Nervo, mexicano del siglo, principios del siglo XX. Y como me gusta mucho Amado Nervo, yo leía mucho en mi clase una poesía que se llama Cobardia. No es de las clásicas, no es de las que estaba pero la leía a los chicos, quizá algunos de mis alumnos que tengo aquí se acuerden, pero es que si quieres poner la próxima, Roxanne, la próxima, put the next slide. I just have a little piece of Cobardia there. I'm going to read you just a piece because I want to make you write in a little while. Okay, so I hope all these poems that I'm reading to you about love inspire you to write something about love. Like Amado Nervo says, no importa qué clase de amor. A tus perros, a tus gatos. ¿Quién no quiere a su gatito? Yo tengo una gatita que quiero mucho. Y mi hija que nos está viendo también tiene 8 gatos. Y de seguro que tienen una mascota. Digo eso porque toda clase de amor, ¿no? Claro, a tus padres, a tus abuelos, etcétera. Pero oigan esta sí es de Valentine, pero se llama Cobardía, que en inglés es cowardice. Al otro nos decía, no dudes y no digan te engañarán, pero fíjense en esto, se le fueron las patas a Amado Nervo y se puso cobarde. Y dice, pasó con su madre, qué rara belleza, qué rubios cabellos de trigo garzul, qué ritmo en el paso, qué innata realeza de porte, qué formas bajo el fino tul. Pasó con su madre, volvió la cabeza, me clavó muy hondo en mi mirada, su mirada azul. Quedé como en éxtasis. Síguela, gritaron, cuerpo y alma a la par. Síguela. Pero tuve miedo de amar con locura. That's what you have there on your screen. De abrir mis heridas que suelen sangrar. Y no obstante toda mi sed de ternura, cerrando los ojos, la dejé pasar. Por eso le llama cobardía. Y yo, en respuesta a cobardía, escribí hace poco, bueno, el 2018, escribí un poema que le puse, It Takes Courage to Love. And that's how we write. Well, that's one of the things I do. I respond to poems, or I'm inspired by poems. So, and I use them as a springboard. And so I remembered Cobardia and how my kids, ay, no, qué agüita, ma'am. And that Cobardia poem would give me a lot of discussion among my teenagers, which not all poems do, as you know. So I wrote It Takes a Courage to Love. And here also Malena Charur, where one is in English, one in Spanish, Tu Soledad y Mi Tristeza. And it was published, I think, in June when she had some article about a boy from Canada that fell in love with a girl from Peru, and they met in Mexico and they live in Mexico. And so she wanted to be poetic, and she asked me for 2 love poems, and I gave her those 2. So this is my response to Cobardia. It takes courage to love. One puts a lot on the line for love. You bare your soul, you risk being hurt. Yet one does it anyway, because there is no better feeling than being in love, in losing oneself with another soul, with abandonment, with lust, with gusto, with joy. Loving another is not easy to do. It is hard to take risks and to lose control. Loving someone takes courage, and it is not easy to find a courageous person ready to give up and open the soul for whatever fate brings. Loving takes courage and giving up control of your heart and your soul. And this is why it's so hard to find someone to love. But oh, love brings great joy and treasures untold. And yes, there is no better feeling than being in love. So that's a good Valentine poem. But I was responding to Cobardia from Amado Nervo. And now we get to the end of the presentation before we do our writing activity. And let's read this one. I hope you can read it. Can you read it from your screens, or do we put it a little bit bigger? Or well, Roxanne, can you do it bigger?
Can you put it like on presentation view so it can be a little bigger? Oh,
see? Well, I'm going to read it for you. And listen, this is Elizabeth Barrett Browning. We're talking also, I'm going back to the classics. This is a classic of the classics. How Do I Love Thee? I mean, this is the classic Valentine poem. And I'm sure I'm not an English teacher. I'm a Spanish teacher, 49 years teaching Spanish, 39 at the high school, 10 at the university level. And, but I love poetry. It doesn't matter what language. Right now I'm reading Portuguese poetry, and with the English translation, because I'm not that good in Portuguese, but I enjoy reading Portuguese. Carlos Drummond de Andrade, I recommend them highly. But this she wrote for her husband. Okay, so it's really, and she was a great poet, and Robert Browning was also a poet, and that's her husband. But her parents didn't let her. They didn't like him for her. I think he was much older, but she married him, and she was disinherited. She went to live with him to Italy, and that's a great story right then and there. Right there is a great love story. But anyway, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. And this, if you were in high school, the kids would start it, because some of my English teachers said they would start 1, 2, 3, and of course, making fun. But it's a beautiful, beautiful. Think of the words. A poem is like a piece of art, like something you like, but instead of painting of colors, and you color with your words. So this is the most beautiful painting that you've ever seen. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach, when feeling out of sight, for the ends of being and ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need, by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with a passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my love's saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. Oh, true love is depicted as long-lasting and even eternal. And the poem, of course, details how love will get stronger with passing time and even after death. True love is eternal, surpassing space and time, according to her, because I shall love thee better after death. And we can all hope for this kind of love. If maybe some of you have been, lucky enough or blessed enough to have this kind of love. And so we get to our the following. This is going to be our prompt. I'm going to give you how do I love you? Or if it's easier, why do I love you? That's just going to be our prompt for today. And I'm going to give you 10 minutes to write. But remember, why do I love you? There's arrows. You can choose romantic love for a significant other. You can choose a spiritual love, God, a spiritual guide, nature, something ethereal, la primavera, and it can be cómo te quiero o por qué te quiero. You can do it in Spanish too, of course. And then fila, we can write to our father, like I wrote my father's love, or my mother's love, or a colleague, a friend, or a brother, a sister, a tia, a grandma, X. You can write whatever it is. It is your poem. And may I have the next slide, Roxanne?
Yes.
And
There we
it's
go.
let's write. That's the purpose of me to take this to you. But it says there, I would love to encourage you to write, but it's entirely up to you. You don't have to write if you don't want to, okay? But if you do, once you decide the object of your love, think of all the reasons for your love for this person or God or guide or spiritual guide or relative that you have. And I am going to ask you to write without interruption for 5 to 8 minutes, then review 5 to 8 minutes. I would tell them, if some of my students remember, I said, don't get the pen out of the paper so you can write. And then you review your best thoughts, verses that words can convey. And at the end of 10 minutes, stop, fix your poem and get it ready to share, if you like, with the rest of the group. Volunteers to read their short poem will have an opportunity to do so. Okay. And you type the name in the chat or send Roxanne Garza so she can let you. So we are going to start. I have 6:39, 6:40, let's say 6:40. At 6:50, we stop. And those of you that want to share and can do it, it's going to be a short poem, and you can write if you want to, and if you don't want to, it's fine. I hope you enjoy this. Okay, we are all going to be muted then, Roxanne.
Yes, everybody is
Muted. Everybody muted. Okay.
Yeah, everybody's mute right now.
Do you want to put the instructions there?
Yeah, let me.
And again, if you want to. Okay. Thank you. Okay, the 10 minutes are up. Can you hear me? See? Okay, who wants to read? Deja apagar esto. ¿Quién quiere leer? Who wants to read? Okay, you
I
are,
only have one, Liliana,
Yeah.
and Ms. Vargas.
put your name in the chat so we can call you as you. Do you read? Can you read them, Roxanne? Because I can't see them. Oh, yes, Sylvia said yes. And who
Yes,
else?
and Liliana. There's only two.
Okay, Liliana.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Iliana. Oh,
Sí.
okay. Iliana, sí. Y Ana Lu también. Ana Lu. Okay. You choose, Roxanne. I can't see who
Creo que Cintia había levantado su mano también.
Cynthia, está bien. Cynthia, ponlo ahí en el chat. Roxanne, porque tú eres la que you have the power to mute or unmute. So you choose the first one that signed up. What's her name?
The first one was Liliana. Molina,
Ileana.
so
Ileana. Okay, Ileana Molina.
there.
Okay, Ileana, léenos tu poema, inglés o español.
En español.
Claro.
Gracias a todos.
Es de General Treviño, no León.
Y arriba el norte.
Arriba el norte. A ver,
Buenas tardes a todos. Hice uno pequeñito inspirado un poco en lo de Cobardía de Amado Nervo.
ándale.
Que a veces somos cobardes y no podemos decir lo que sentimos. Le llamé Lo que siento. Las palabras se las lleva el viento. Pero, ¿qué pasa con las que pienso? Esas que se quedan en lo más adentro. Esas que me atemoran y que arruinan mis pensamientos. Esas que están en lo más profundo de mi centro. ¿Cómo? Dime cómo. Le grito al mundo lo que por ti siento.
Wow. Bravo, Ileana. Muy bien, gracias. Gracias, y de cobardía. Sí, I give you a prompt, but really it's your mind, your poem. If you want to write about something else, it's okay. Just that you write. So I love that. Okay, thank you, Ileana. Who's next, Roxanne?
I had Miss Silvia Vargas.
Okay, Miss Sylvia, la poetisa.
I don't think she's there. I could see her camera. I think she
Oh my God, stepped out. Okay,
Okay, we can go with Ana Lu.
Ana Lu.
Where is she? She's right here.
Ana-
Okay, she's not muted, so she can go ahead and start.
I just unmuted myself. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So I wrote a lot. I kind of free wrote a little bit, but I have a song that I wrote a while back, and I asked my aunt if I could read it to you all, and she allowed it. So yes,
Yeah.
I wrote I
Yes.
wrote lots of things with Valentine's Day coming up. I wrote lots of things for my boyfriend, but this is a song that I wrote. It's called "Well Crafted Kiss," and it's kind of related to what my tia Rosie was saying. Why do I love you? Well, because you gave me a beautiful kiss. Of course, that's not the only reason why I love you, but it's one, right? It's one
It's a
thing
good one. It's a good
that
one.
drives me to you.
Yeah. I
So it says something like this. You said I'll kiss you like it's the last time. I don't know when there will be a next time. I'm addicted to you. You're the cup of sugar I know I shouldn't have. I miss you even when I close my eyes. Every kiss you give me is so well crafted. Every kiss you give me, I enjoy. It's so simple, your lips on my lips together. It's so magical. You make me feel the weather is better. A lifetime, it feels like a lifetime, but it's been a month, a year, an hour. Every time we kiss, it's a new emotion. Every time we kiss, it's like I'm drinking your potion. Kiss me one last time before you go. Leave it here with me forever. A lifetime, it feels like a lifetime. I am in love with you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And yes, because I didn't know. No sabía. I didn't know how this, if somebody was going to read or not. And I said, I know Ana Lu has a lot of songs. And I said, well, you know, if I had to prepare myself in case nobody reads, can you read me
I'll
one of
read them all
yours?
my songs, don't worry.
Yes. And I want Ana Lu to she put a song, music to this poem, because I want, and all the teachers here, I want to relate that poetry is also music. You know, you can set that poem to music. And Ana Lu, if you want to, are you ready to sing a few chords?
Yes, I can sing a little paragraph. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so you said I'll kiss you like it's the last time. I don't know when there will be a next time. I'm addicted to you. You're the cup of sugar I know I shouldn't have. I miss you even when I close my eyes. I'm addicted to you.
Mhm. Thank you, Ana Lu. Ana Lu is in YouTube. Are you Ana Lu or Annie Lu in YouTube?
It's Anna Lure, actually. And actually, this music video is going to come out on Friday. So if you all going to
Oh my
watch,
goodness. See,
yeah.
she's a start on YouTube, and it's very important that, and she's a teacher at LC. She's a speech teacher, also very young, but at LC. Thank you so much. And Miss Sylvia, we had called you, La Maestra, and you were not there, but you're next. But
Yeah, she can go
Roxana,
next. Yes, she can go next.
yeah, but Roxana is the one that unmutes you.
There you go.
No la oímos. You,
There.
Hello, can you hear me all?
yes, now.
Okay, thank you all. Good afternoon. And yes, I'm here. I have to step out, but then I came back. My name is Sylvia Vargas, and here I am. And thanks to this pandemic, I want to say that I guess many of us have been touched. And let's go ahead and call it, right now, I'm going to call it God. God. Okay. I love you truly, God, because you teach me so many things that I can possibly act upon with passion. I love you so dearly, God, because I see you in the blooming yellow rose. I see you in the trees that pamper me with shade. I hear you. I hear you so much through the wind that gives me the oxygen that I go and actually feel it too hard. When I tightly close my eyes. I love you, God, so much that I could carry any heavy burden on my shoulders that I know for sure you can provide for me. But I know for sure that you will not let me die because I have learned to have faith that you will never let me go down. So no matter how many how many burdens I am gonna have to carry, I know for sure you're gonna let me survive. But I still hear you. I hear you so clearly and loudly in my heart, my God, that I can turn right now, Steph, right now if you want to. You want me to, if you want me to, I can only just hear you, your lovely whispering, not only in my ears, not only in my brain, but within the arteries of my soul that can possibly exist, even if I'm gone from this dimensional existing life. I love you, dearly, God, that I could take off right now with you if you want me to. If only you will just take me with you, it's okay with me. I will just leave behind the loved ones that I'm sure I will see you sometime, somewhere in a future life.
Uh,
Thank you.
Wow, that was wonderful. That's wonderful, Miss Sylvia Vargas. Very profound, very deep, and of course, God, the selfless. And we have one more. Cindy Bernal, is that you from Slam Poetry?
Yeah, we have Cynthia. We have two more actually
Oh,
after
two
that.
more. Oh my goodness. Hi, thank you. Okay, Cindy.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I did write within my 10-minute limit. Is it okay if I share two short poems?
Sure.
All right. I wanted to share first the one that I wrote. It's obviously a work in progress. I don't think it's fleshed out and ready yet, but this is what I wrote. A tethered soul can soar and fly. A bounded heart can swell and sigh. A body held feels safe and sure. A smile or hug, an eternal cure. I love you with my eyes closed shut. I love you with my ears turned down. I love you with my voice on mute. I love you with my hands gone numb. A tethered soul and a tethered heart will always guide me home. Together we are bound and limitless. You hold me free, I hold your key. Because in the darkness you are my light, in the day I hold you tight. Together we will face each fight, and once more we will take off in flight.
Ay, qué hermoso, Cynthia. Cindy, thank you. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's
And if
a
it's
true Valentine poem that you send to your husband, because your daughtery Bernal.
yes, Dari
Yes.
is my maiden name and Bernal is my married name. Me and my husband have almost 18 years married.
Oh my goodness, you look so young to have been married 18.
We met actually. I actually like this exercise because I don't often write love poetry. But we met when I was 16, and he was a blind date. But nobody told me I was being set up on a blind date. So since then we've been together, and we had a long engagement, almost 2 years, but still.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you. And you say, well, that's a beautiful poem. Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Yes, I love you even with my eyes closed.
And that one was the way that you talked about the Eros love, and I have one that's a little bit different. This is more. It's titled Elemental Love, and it's from my book.
Oh, you have a book. That's right. Yes, you showed it to us last time in Border Slam.
Yes, I did. I always shamelessly plug it, so I'm sorry.
Yes, no, it's fine.
This one is called Elemental Love,
Mm-hmm.
and it says, "A silken touch, whisper soft, leaves a permanent silver scar. A universe of emotion on my lips. I am the moon singing in the night. Love with me, live with me. All an affectionate caress. I murmur passions to the cosmos. A feathered touch trails down a path. Goosebumps blossom over every inch. A collection of shattered diamonds on my hips. I want to go to the moon. Scratch my nails in the dark. Leave a mark fluttering eyelids. And yet again I whisper sweetly to the Sandman.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. I remember from slam. I love the slam poets. Okay. I love because it's such a free poetry, you know. Yes, I invited Axel, but he didn't come. I'm going to get Axel.
No, I know. I think he mentioned it in the group as well, and I know that he was a little disheartened that he was going to be a little bit busy. But
Yeah.
I mean, Axel has been writing like a madman through the pandemic.
I know. Every day, I think he has like 360 because the pandemic is almost a year, and he has over 300 poems.
Yes.
I read his poems every day. He's a great inspiration, my Axel. Well, Armando Javier Lopez. We know him poetically as Axel. Okay.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
Thank you. And you're the poetry goddess, of course. Yeah. I love your name.
Now we have to, we'll go with Dr. Patricia Gonzalez.
All right, Patty, my good friend.
Thank you. You can call me Patty, everyone.
Sí, yo Patty.
Of course. Yes, that, that's because it has to be. Mientras hablabas y leías los poemas, escribí To My Dear Friend. Está basado mi título en Walking Around.
Sí, como lo de Neruda.
Pero no tienen nada que ver. To My Dear Friend. Pero sabes que nos inspiramos de pronto.
Qué bueno, qué linda.
La rosa más bella, si recuerdas. Esa tarde, un hombre con el que
ya me estoy acordando.
nos invitó a tomar.
This is a true happening, guys.
Yes. So listen closely.
It happened at Texas A&M. We were colleagues for the PhD. I'm ABD. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
fine. I'm also 74. Yeah, I've been there, done that. Yeah.
Like somebody mentioned, depends who's counting. So anyway, going back to this.
Sí, that's so funny.
Yes, nos deslumbró el rococó de su poesía, regocijada de versos blancos que hacían a la rosa.
Sí.
En fin, nos inspiró, pero a mirarnos una a la otra en complicidad. Él no estaba de acuerdo, pero nosotras sabíamos que la rosa es la flor más bella.
Sí, gracias. Me trajiste muchos recuerdos de cómo se llamaba ese doctor. ¿Cómo se llama?
Se llama...
ya hasta se me olvidó.
Es Eduardo Espino.
Eduardo Espino. Nunca tomé clases yo con él.
Que su poesía es rococó. Y recuerda que según él, la rosa era la flor horrible que todo el mundo celebra en los poemas. Y nosotras, obviamente, como otra generación de otra época mexicana, nos miramos a los ojos en esa complicidad de amigas, de colegas. Y sí, nos deslumbraba su poesía rococó. ¿Verdad? Que recitaba 100 por hora.
Sí, yo me acuerdo.
Versos.
Y me acuerdo por ti, porque tú eras la alumna, yo solamente ahí.
Bueno, sigo siendo su fan, porque si quieren leer a Eduardo Espina, es una poesía rococó que de pronto te mueve el tapete. Nada que ver con Neruda o con Amado Nervo. Nada que ver con lo que presentó mi amiga Rosa María. Pero entra de pronto algo diferente que se disfruta, porque pues las palabras, versos, los versos blancos que desprecian también deben de considerarse. Gracias por la oportunidad de compartir To My Dear Friend.
Ay, thank you, my dear friend.
Es un tributo, como siempre.
Gracias, qué hermosa. ¿Hay alguien más, Roxanne, que no veo?
Yes, we have Jamie. You wanna-
Jamie, good. Jamie. Where are you, Jamie? Oh, there you are, Jamie Cos.
Hi.
Hi, Jamie Cos.
Hi. I wrote this so I was thinking about a friend. She's been through some things, and when you were talking about like platonic love, I just thought of her, so I wrote this for her. I guess.
What kind of love?
It's just platonic love, like just love for her as a friend.
Sure.
Yeah.
We called it philia, like in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love.
Yeah.
And the Greeks gave us those names, agape or agape, and eros and philia. And there's others, like love of country, and others. But yes, please give me one about your friend.
Okay. It's called I'll Tell You. I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you and again my endless love for you. How unconditional it is. No matter how sharp your tongue or empty my stomach, I'll stay. I'll stay, and I know that scares you. You think you've let your guard down for another person who says, I love you, and cries crocodile's tears when their actions speak louder, when they don't love you. I can't promise I won't hurt you, but I can promise to love you, you and your glass heart.
Okay. Oh, wow. I see shades of Cobardia también, ¿verdad? Courage to love, shades of, a little bit. Well, it's so nice to meet you, Jamie. And I'm so glad that I inspired you to write. And remember, in April, the library is having a poetry contest. So if you want to continue with it, this is just a little bit of the poems, because obviously in 10 minutes, it was just to give you a taste, and that in 5-8 minutes, you can write if you're inspired and you have a good prompt. And like I said, you can have that prompt or another one. If you like Cobardia, like Ileana went with Cobardia, is fine. But just to let you know, inspiration is so great. It comes from different sources. Well, this is it. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you to the city of Laredo for naming me. And I hope you were at the beginning of the presentation, Sylvia, because I said there's a lot of good poems, and I share this with all the good poets, the Cindy who has that book, all of you. I'm very humbled. I think the reason is because I've been teaching forever, since 68, and then 74, all my poetry contest. And I've been teaching a lot of kids to read and to recite poetry and to read and write. And 20 years of calaveras I had, and all that, gave me the little push for them to select me. I'm very, very honored. And that's why I'm taking my naming very seriously, and I'm taking the poetry to the community. And so you're my first guest and my first students. And I really thank you. Thank you. I hope you can come and bring me some more people I hope Axel can come, some more people from slam poetry. The reason I love slam, I love all of you, but my students especially, but that were with me a long time ago, Ileana and Angeles Zarate. Who else was here? My student. And my sobrina, Anilu, she always saves me, because she's a good poet. And my friends, of course, Patricia and Luis, and Luis Guerra and Sylvia. And I'm glad, Jamie, to know you. And please come. And Kaeli, I didn't name some of you. I can't see all the names. The other Cynthia, Cindy Gallardo. You owe us a poem, Cindy, for next time. You understand? And if you're inspired, in April, we have the poetry contest. And
yes, they can send me an email, and I can send them the link, because we do have a website that you can upload your work.
Okay.
You can also download the forms and then turn them in, here if you want, curbside. But if you're more familiar with technology, you can send them through the link that I can send you. Just contact me and I can send it. I'm in charge of the Laureate Poetry Festival this year. Well, I've been in charge for 3 years, so. And it's fun reading all the poems, especially the little kids. Oh my God, they make you laugh sometimes. And sometimes they're very good, especially for their age.
Mhm.
So it's just, if y'all do, just contact me, just reply to my email and just let me know, hey, I want to enter the contest. Because we do have adult category. And so,
Rosa, they're asking, did you record the meeting? Did you record?
yes, I did.
Oh, good, good. Yes, because we want it for the city of Laredo. City of Laredo should keep it in their files, I think.
Yes. I'm going to be recording these meetings, so just in case.
So next time, it's going to be the first Tuesday of every month, except this one is it was too soon by the time we decided. So that's why this one is the only one that is the second Tuesday. But from now on, the first Tuesday, March, May, and June. And then we skip July and August because, and then September and October. Okay? Well,
Yes, just go.
see you next
You can
month.
also send me an email if you want to register for the next one, which is in March, and I can just sign you up. Or just go back to the request for the
Sign
restoration.
up, Ileana, and bring more people, and send people from Slam. And Anilu, bring me some people more, and and bring your guitar next time, because we want to make the connection between song and poetry. Okay, para animar a los chicos, pues, para que no les tengan miedo a la poesía. ¿Está bueno?
Yes, awesome.
Muchas
Yes.
gracias a todos.
Thank you.
Sí, bye bye.
So we'll see you next time.
Sí, bye bye.
Oh, somebody's asking for my email. Don't leave, Cynthia. Let me give it to you.
Thank you, Kael Castillo, everyone. It was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for participating. I'm always, I asked Anilu because I said, oh, what if nobody participates? Let's have something ready, just in case. So
I'm glad
like,
that everybody, a lot of
Christina,
people did read.
how come I didn't see you, Christina Porsche? The Llano Porsche. I never saw my daughter. There's my daughter, but I didn't see her.
She didn't put on her camera, I
I
think.
know. No se vale. Bueno, bye bye.
So
Good
we'll see you
night.
next time.
Si
Bye-bye.
Dios quiere, bye bye.